Hello beautiful humans and welcome back to my channel. So a big part of my work as a dating coach is reprogramming limiting beliefs that people hold about their dating lives, their love lives, relationships and men. So any limiting beliefs that you hold in any of these areas could be stopping you from finding and attracting and keeping healthy love in your life. So in this video, we're going to be unpacking how to rewrite the narrative of any limiting beliefs that you might be holding so that you can live a more empowered, free and happy life. If you're new to this channel, I'm Monica, a dating coach, author and lover of all things love. And here we talk about feminine energy, self-love, dating and relationships. So if you enjoy this video, click like and subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any of my weekly videos. To majorly simplify this topic down, essentially your beliefs shape your thoughts, which shape your feelings, which shape your behaviors, which then in turn shape your reality. So in relation to your love life, your expectations in relationships, who and why you're attracted to people, your attachment style, how safe you feel to give and receive love, all of these things come from beliefs formed from your past, which are now shaping your present day experiences of love. Between the ages of 0 to 7, we're sponges to our relational, emotional and informational environment. And as we're not able to self-regulate yet or tend to our own needs, we depend on others to soothe us and to satisfy all of our physical, emotional and social requirements for our survival. So this makes us hypersensitive to our surroundings and others' behaviors, emotions, and words. Also, as infants, we're totally egocentric. So we think about ourselves and our needs non-stop, and we personalize everything that happens around us and to us to mean something about us. We also haven't developed our prefrontal cortex yet, which is our thinking brain, until roughly about age 5. So young infants don't have the self-awareness yet to logically be able to process information presented to them as anything other than absolute fact. So this in turn means that a child's self-concept and belief systems which are developed in these early years are actually based on the opinions, actions and words of their primary caregivers, which they have then interpreted to have a factual meaning about themselves. And this then remains imprinted within their psyche, informing their adult beliefs about themselves, about love, about relationships and other people. In other words, it's our highly immature interpretation of experiences from our earliest years, which without proper awareness and healing around it can actually remain pretty much running the show in our adult years as well. So this is why it can be so destructive, because we're using the same immature interpretation of events and what they meant about us even now with our more highly developed brain in operation. Our limiting beliefs can also continue to intensify as we grow older through societal conditioning, wider relational experiences and adult attachment experiences. But as our earliest years are when our brain is at its most suggestible, we often see our deepest subconscious wounds which shape our present day having been formed in those primal years. So some examples of limiting beliefs which you might be able to relate to in your dating life could be: I'm not lovable enough to find a healthy, loving partnership. I'm not enough to be with a great man. I'm not worthy of an honorable, respectful partner. If I become skinnier, taller, prettier, then men will like me. Relationships are dangerous and destructive. Relationships always end in separation. Men aren't to be trusted. Men only like me for my body and sex. There are no good men out there. And then exploring the ways that these limiting beliefs might be showing up in your love life. You might see them showing up as these kind of protective coping mechanisms in your life. So it could be avoiding true intimacy with another person, dating unavailable or unkind men, either due to emotional familiarity or protecting yourselves from vulnerability, being ultra critical of the men that you date, prematurely ending intimate connections because of irrational excuses, creating intensity or drama within a dating pattern, or people pleasing, wearing a mask or performing in some way to be perceived as perfect, oversharing with your date, both with your words and with your body, not maintaining healthy boundaries for yourself and not honoring your date's boundaries either, like with things like over texting. So these are just some examples of what I'm talking about. Now, it might seem a bit foreign to you right now, but dating is actually supposed to be fun. And a major way to do this is through removing the fearful and limiting beliefs ingrained in your psyche and your body about love, about dating, relationships, and replacing those beliefs with a more empowered, helpful, and optimistic perspective. So let's dive into rewiring those limiting beliefs. Now, before we dive into the steps, I just first want to shine a light on why these beliefs came to be. So rather than attempting to rid ourselves of this narrative from a place of hate, we need to have a compassionate understanding for the protective roles that these beliefs were and still are attempting to provide you with in your life. Now, I know it might not feel that way because the outcome of these beliefs might be quite disruptive, but they came to be through dutifully doing their best with their limited understanding of the situation to help you. So when you're able to connect to your limiting beliefs through a lens of greater empathy and acceptance, you'll then be able to understand the true root cause of why they came to be, and therefore be able to rationalize with them more and heal the deeply ingrained internal wounds. Then and only then will you be able to lovingly reframe them and release them altogether. So here are the steps. So number 1 is awareness. You need to actually recognize what your self-sabotaging beliefs are. So I recommend just taking some time reflecting on the list I shared before and seeing which of them you can relate to. Number 2 is feel it. In order to rewire the narrative of these painful beliefs within your neural pathways, you first must feel the pain. You can't rewrite the narrative of a limiting belief until you've allowed yourself to truly connect to it. You need to understand the depths of the pain to understand what your little me, or otherwise known as your inner child, needed at that time, and therefore what you now need to provide it with in order to feel safe and to heal the wound. The next step is to befriend your little me, and by that I mean sit with her, listen to her, connect with her, comfort her, and accept her. When you spend time with your little me, typically during those moments of meditation or breathwork or stillness, you need to not only acknowledge how she feels, but also offer her unconditional acceptance for how she's feeling as well. At this stage, you don't need to try and change how she feels, but just simply allow her to feel heard by you in an act of reparenting. She needs to feel safe to finally have her needs heard by you. And you weren't able to truly hear the needs that you needed for yourself when you were younger because you didn't have that level of awareness, nor the mental toolkits that you have now to understand and process the needs that you had at that time for you to feel safe. So your ego just took over and created the primitive limiting beliefs that you still hold in your mind today. But now, as the new caregiver of yourself and your little me, now you can finally offer the help that you so desperately needed at the time. The next step is self-regulation. Now, as the adult here to reparent your little me, you need to be able to self-regulate with your inner child, breathing into where the emotion feels blocked and stored within your body, and really tuning in to how it's feeling and what the needs are telling you. This act of self-soothing is not to try to force away the emotion, but rather to truly hear what it has to say. The next step is inner dialogue. So when both your adult self and your little me have self-regulated and attuned to each other, you can then allow yourself to practice a process of inner dialogue work with her inner child. Beginning the dialogue with the impactful question, what do you need from me to feel safe right now? Then it is your job to truly actively listen without immediately trying to find a solution. I have a guided meditation about releasing limiting beliefs about love on my YouTube, as well as a guided meditation on connecting and healing with your inner child, both which would be extremely helpful for this process of freeing yourself of limiting beliefs around love, dating, and relationships if you'd like to go down that path further. And the next step is question time. Now, with this new connection of safety being formed between you and your little me, we can gently question the validity and reality of the limiting belief. So you can gently probe your little me, asking it whether it feels what she says to be true as fact or just opinion. You can even ask her on a scale of 1 to 10 how much she believes these thoughts as fact. And then you can go deeper by asking her who used to say these things to her and where this narrative originally came from. And the next step is to reframe. So as the communication deepens in safety and intimacy and clarity, you can then ask the little me if there's another way to look at the situation. And you can use the reframe of asking what she would say to a friend who is in a similar situation. And the next step is to replace. So when she's come up with some healed responses, you can then reparent the little me into replacing those limiting beliefs with these new, more empowered beliefs that she's come to the realization of herself. So for example, a limiting belief around love that you might hold based on childhood trauma could be that you don't feel deserving of a healthy long-term love. Then through reparenting your little me, you could reframe the belief to a narrative of something a bit more like, I'm so perfectly lovable and I'm so deserving of the most incredible love just as I am. The next step is to collect evidence. Now, a way to enforce a reframed narrative is to actively collect evidence of this new formed beneficial belief. So for instance, with this new narrative that you are so perfectly lovable, you can actively seek out examples that confirm this bias through drawing your attention towards things and truly acknowledging all the incredible things around you that confirm that you are oh so lovable. So, if you do something kind for somebody else, acknowledge how lovable you are. Every time you look at yourself in the mirror, acknowledge how beautiful you are and how lovable you are. Every time you receive a compliment from someone, acknowledge how lovable you are. And ideally, you eventually want to be able to acknowledge how lovable you are without the need of any conditions. But this is a way to start by collecting the proof to work against any previous limiting beliefs that you might have held about yourself, which are now conditioning you differently. The next step is repeat. So like anything which you want to truly implement into your life, it can't be a one-time thing. It needs to be repeated in order to be truly ingrained into your psyche and into your routine and into your life. So whenever the limiting beliefs come up again, which they probably will, you simply need to repeat the above exercises until it slowly seeps out of your psyche and out of your life. And then finally, you need to align your actions with your new belief system. So you need to ask yourself, how can I align my actions with my new formed positive belief system about myself, about love, about dating? And then take actionable steps towards embodying this newfound version of you. Therapy can also be a great option to help you with your limiting beliefs if you feel overwhelmed by addressing them alone. And I fully endorse seeking professional help through therapeutic practices. I'm a big advocate for rapid transformational therapy, which is a type of trauma healing work. And my primary recommendation would actually be my mum, who's a highly trained rapid transformational therapist. And so I'll link her therapy website below. Now, it's really important to acknowledge that you're not responsible for the cause of your beliefs from infancy, but you are responsible now for your little me and for your adult self to reparent yourself and to provide yourself with the caregiving that unfortunately you didn't receive when you initially needed it. In other words, you're not responsible for your past, but you are responsible for your future. Now, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And if you'd like to delve into this healing journey more and explore more of the points addressed in this video in a more personalized way, then I do one-on-one sessions. So you can reach out to me via my email, which is monica@wadwa.com, or through my Instagram or TikTok, which is @withlove.monicawadwa. And thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next Friday for my next video.